Welcome to week 20 of Emotional Regulation Insights. Jolene Watson here, Canada's networking expert. Today, we're continuing our conversation from last week on emotional intelligence and intent versus perception. When you walk into a room, you want to look professional, you want to look competent, you want to look approachable. So carrying on from last week, I'm going to give you a couple more tips, and then we'll keep going for a few weeks because this is a really fun topic and really easy to learn. Charisma can be learned. So when you walk into a room, we already talked about business card etiquette, shaking hands or not. So really being approachable. Then let's go a little bit deeper. So when you're talking to someone, if you talk with your hands, and I know some people are more of a hand talker than others, but they have proven, again, across cultures, that if you use your hands often when you talk, especially if people can see the palms of your hands, that shows that you're trustworthy, that you're not hiding anything. If I were to do this whole session with my hands behind my back, you might like what I'm saying, but there's going to be a level of distrust. I don't know if I can believe what she's saying. Can't see your hands. So that's a really easy tip, even online, is to show that you know your information so well that not only are you speaking, but you're also using body language to accentuate whatever it is you want to say. For example, if I said it's really large versus it's really large, right? So utilize your body language when you can. It does make a difference. So hands. On that note, I did just recently partake in a 3-hour session on lie detection. And it's really important that you don't jump to conclusions or assume. So you really need to know someone, spend some time with them, and get to know their baseline, like who they are naturally. That's when you can start to see the differences in body languages, perhaps some red flags. The one thing that I do notice all the time that may not be a red flag, but it might, depending on when it occurs, is people crossing their arms. Some people find this very comfortable. They start meetings this way. Some people are cold all the time, so they might do this to keep warm. But if you're talking to someone and you have really open body language between the two, you're leaning in, showing there's connection there, and then you say something and that person leans back, so they're creating distance, and they cross their arms, perhaps that's a sign that they do not like something that you just said. What about this? Which emotion do you think this is? If you guessed fear, anxiety, or perhaps nervous, a little bit of apprehension, again, it's impossible to differentiate without really talking to that person what emotion they're experiencing. But there's some universal signals, right? If you look at that picture, you probably guessed it pretty accurately. So just to be aware when somebody shows these signals that maybe you want to repeat what you said, maybe you ask a question, maybe you make sure there is no questions, right? What about this one? Have you ever experienced this? Hopefully not. I haven't, thankfully. But if somebody feels really unsafe, what we tend to do, and sometimes it's subconscious, we don't even know we're doing it, is we protect our jugular, right? We don't feel safe. We'll often distance ourselves as well. So in the middle of a conversation, again, get your baseline, know what's normal for that person. But if they show some of these signals right in the middle of a conversation, just be aware, be vigilant. Be diligent, pay attention, and never forget the platinum rule, which is to treat people the way they want. Next week, we're going to go into a few more micro expressions and things that you should probably be able to notice when you walk into a room in terms of awareness. Have a great week ahead.